All right, so we are here for the overview of the Tennessee Teacher of the Year program. I am Sarah Brown. I am the coordinator of Educator Recognition and Communications. I'm on the Educator Effectiveness team. So this is my program. I am your point of contact for any questions that you have. Okay. All right. So the agenda for this webinar, we're first going to go over the benefits of participation in the Teacher of the Year program. We will then go over an overview of the selection process. We will then talk about the panel discussions with former Tennessee Teachers of the Year. I know Ms. Morgan Rankin is here with us. And then we'll have any kind of questions. I'll answer any questions that you may have. So the goal of the Tennessee Teacher of the Year program is to recognize and celebrate the wealth of excellent teachers that exist across the state. We applaud teachers who devote their professional lives to enriching the lives of Tennessee students and who demonstrate exceptional gains in student achievement. This webinar will provide an overview of the Tennessee Teacher of the Year selection process and benefits of participation. Our learning objectives for this webinar. So following the completion of this training, learners will be able to identify the benefits of participating in the Tennessee Teacher of the Year program, as well as understanding the phases of selection for the Teacher of the Year program. A few norms: if you could please remain on mute throughout the session until asked to unmute and share, that would be very helpful. Additionally, if you have any questions or comments throughout the presentation, please put them in the chat. To get started, please answer the following question in the chat. What is one thing you hope to gain from this training session? Let's see, basic understanding of the TOY process, seeing other teachers, like to learn the process and put my best foot forward. Knowledge about the application. All right. A clear sense of understanding of the process, as well as connecting with other teachers across the state. Expectations for quality application. Next steps. The process and what's involved. Okay. So I see a lot of processes. That's what we were talking about today. In our next webinar, which will be next Tuesday, we will definitely go over the application more specifically. All right. So while this application process requires time and attention to detail, there are many benefits to participating in the Tennessee Teacher of the Year process. At the local level, you will be recognized and celebrated by colleagues and leaders within your school, district, and community for the hard work and passion you bring to Tennessee students each and every day. In some communities, school and district Teacher of the Year winners even receive recognition and awards underwritten by local sources. If you are named as one of the 9 region level finalists, you will have the opportunity to serve on the Tennessee Teacher Advisory Council, a group of educators from across the state who utilize their expertise and experience to inform the department's programs and initiatives and serve as ambassadors to teachers. Additionally, all 9 finalists are recognized and honored at the annual Educators of Excellence Banquet, which is held in Nashville, Tennessee. If you are named as the Tennessee Teacher of the Year, you will have the opportunity to represent in the National Teacher of the Year program, which includes a year of all expenses paid travel and professional development opportunities with state Teachers of the Year from across the country. Teachers of the Year are selected competitively through 5 cycles: school, district, region, grand division, and state in 3 grade bands: pre-K through 4, 5 through 8, and 9 through 12. To participate in the Tennessee Teacher of the Year process, you will first need to be selected as your school and/or district Teacher of the Year representative, which at this point, each of you have been. Each school and district selects their Teacher of the Year representatives through a unique process. And if you're interested in learning more about your local process, please contact your principal or district instructional supervisor. Each district is eligible to nominate 3 educators to participate in the region level selection process, with 1 educator representing each of the 3 grade bands: pre-K through 4, 5 through 8, and 9 through 12. District nominations were due on January 22nd. So in the chat, please answer the following question. True or false? You must be nominated at the district level to submit a state level application. For those that answered true, it is true. You must be nominated at the district level to submit a state level application. So after you've been nominated at the district level, you must complete part 1 of the application by February 26, 2023 to continue to the region level selection process. You can find the part 1 application on the Tennessee Teacher of the Year website, as well as the direct email sent to you by me, the Tennessee Teacher of the Year coordinator. The part 1 application contains basic information about yourself and your school, 3 written response questions, and an optional opportunity to submit up to 3 pages of supporting documentation. After all applications are submitted by February 26th, regional scoring committees will identify 1 region level semifinalist in each of the 3 grade bands for each of the 9 regions, for a total of 27 region level semifinalists across the state. All region level applications will be notified of their application decision by March 14th. So then, if you are selected as a region level semifinalist, the Tennessee Teacher of the Year coordinator, that's me, will provide the part 2 application to you via email by March 14th. So part 2 applications must be submitted by April 10th. The part 2 application contains 3 new written response questions, an opportunity to submit additional supporting documentation, a professional resume, 3 letters of recommendation, a professional biography, and a professional headshot. The entire part 2 application will be scored by a statewide scoring committee who will identify 1 finalist in each region of the state for a total of 9 region level finalists. All applicants will be notified of their application decision by June 1st of this year. At that point, the 9 region level finalists will then complete an interview. The interview will be held virtually via Teams. During the interview, finalists will be asked several questions regarding their professional growth, teaching philosophy, and achievements. Additionally, finalists will be asked to share a prepared 2-minute speech on a topic given in advance of the interview. A statewide scoring committee will utilize both the application and interview components to identify 1 educator to represent each of the East, Middle, and West Grant Divisions, as well as one educator to represent the entire state as the Tennessee Teacher of the Year. The Tennessee Teacher of the Year will then move on to represent Tennessee in the National Teacher of the Year program, administered by the Council for Chief State Schools Officers. So now that you've heard about the benefits of the Tennessee Teacher of the Year process and the different phases of the selection, I would like to welcome Miss Morgan Rankin. She is the 2021-2022 Teacher of the Year. Unfortunately, Dr. Collins, Melissa Collins, cannot be with us today, but Morgan will be here to tell you about her experience with the Tennessee Teacher of the Year program. Morgan, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like what you teach, where you teach?
Sure. I teach in Johnson City. This is I think my 9th year teaching in Tennessee. I taught for about 8 years in Canada before this. I am currently teaching 3rd grade. When I was nominated and named the Tennessee Teacher of the Year, I was teaching 2nd grade. What is it like? Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to all of you. This is a really big achievement, and it's really exciting as you move through the steps. I know it feels really overwhelming, but you got this. Just remember, it's hard. I know it's hard to like sing your own praises, but you have to remember you have to be the one to do it because there isn't anyone else to do it right now. Well, you have letters of reference. I take it back, but you really need to focus on singing your praises, and just talking about the things that you really love to do. Just keep reminding yourself that you're just talking about what you love to do, and just showing off like your students and all the crazy things and fun things that you get to do with them every day. Excuse me. So I kind of like just fell into this process. Like I didn't even really know there was a state teacher of the year. I knew we did it at the district level, but like frankly, I never really pondered much beyond that. So I just kind of like fell into each stage like, well, okay, I'll just keep going. So when I was named teacher of the year, I really had no understanding of what I had just kind of signed myself up for. But it's amazing. So as Sarah mentioned, you end up under the umbrella of CCSSO, or the Council of Chiefs School Officers. If I said that correctly, I don't know that I ever get it right, but it's CCSSO. And they coordinate the National Teacher of the Year program. So that's where you go. That's where as the state teacher, that's where your final application goes off to. And they name usually 4 finalists. This year they just named 5 finalists, that's a new thing. So that's very exciting. And they go to Washington for interviews, and that's how they select a National Teacher of the Year. Every state does it differently, which is oh so interesting. Tennessee does not offer a sabbatical for their state teachers of the year. Some states do, and those teachers end up traveling a ton. Every year is a little bit different for the Tennessee State Teacher of the Year. So when it was my year, I was the chair for the teacher subcommittee for the TISA planning, which was really interesting. You represent teachers at a lot of events for the department. So like when they make an announcement about like a program or an achievement, or just something that they're celebrating, that you'll often be invited. So you get to know a whole lot of things that are happening within the department that you probably never hear about otherwise. It's been a lot of learning about policy and things like that I really didn't have much understanding of before. And I know a lot of the time when you hear the word policy, you're like, oh, that's not very exciting for me. But it really is helpful having an understanding of where these things are coming from, and how to navigate that system, like how to anticipate things are coming, how is it going to affect your students, how is it going to affect your job, and learning how to advocate for yourself and for your students even better has been a really helpful piece of learning. So that's come through my time serving as the Teacher Advisory Council. So that's a 2-year commitment. And remember, all these things are get-tos. They're not have-tos. Just because you're a top 9 finalist, if something happens in your personal life, like no one's going to come and be like, why aren't you attending the TAC meetings? You must attend the TAC meetings. But it's really fun. You get to meet with teachers that are just as passionate about education as you. They're just as passionate about teacher advocacy as you. And it's your opportunity to finally have your voice heard. I think a lot of the time as teachers, we don't really feel like we have much of a voice, or we don't have time to have a voice. And so this is a chance to really focus in on some issues and some things that matter to you. So when you're the state teacher of the year, Sarah mentioned, you do get to do some travel, all expenses paid. So we went to, our first conference was virtual. This year I know that Melissa is she other, no, she's going February to California for her first conference. You will travel to Washington, D.C. You will go to the Federal Department of Education. You will also go to the White House for an event and meet. We got to meet Dr. Jill Biden. And we also met President Biden as well. But that's who my picture's with, Dr. Jill Biden. They send you to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama in the summer, which is super fun. You will attend professional development in Princeton, New Jersey. And then finally, you will attend the National College Football Championship game. This year was in California. And you will be on the field for recognition, which was actually probably the craziest experience out of all of that. That was hard. It's hard to believe that something could top going to the White House. But stepping foot on that SoFi Stadium in California and listening to the crowd was craziness. But along with all of that comes some really amazing professional development. The people that coordinate that through CCSSO are incredibly knowledgeable and resourceful. And then working with the other state teachers of the year, these are some of the most accomplished teachers I've ever met or worked with. And my colleagues here in Johnson City they're slouches, so that's saying a lot about the caliber of teaching that you're sitting elbow to elbow with when you're with the other state teachers of the year. But that professional development has been for lack of a better word, like life-changing. Like it changes how you view a lot of the things in your teaching and how you view yourself in terms of your own like self-efficacy in your role as a teacher. And it helps you kind of dream bigger about what you want to do. And when I say bigger, I don't necessarily mean leave the classroom, but just really hone in on like what you want to accomplish for the rest of your career. So I think that's it in a nutshell. I probably talked longer than I should have, Sarah. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was actually going to ask for you to elaborate a little bit as some of the experiences you've had as a top 9 finalist as well, and not just as the teacher of the year.
I mean, so, oh goodness. So I think
for that one.
No, well, I'm just trying to think everything I've gone to. So I think participating in TAC is probably the primary driving force. What have we done? Well, we've had the recognition banquets for 2022 and then again, or 2022 and then again for 2023. We are working on developing a newsletter with TAC. So contributing to that has been great, which reminds me I still haven't written my piece and I need to get on that. What else? So a lot of like the TISA subcommittee chair was probably the most, I want to say rewarding. It was the hardest as well. Like school funding is not something I was knowledgeable about. When they asked me to chair that, I was like, are you sure? Is that a mistake? But it ended up being really, really interesting, helping like keeping that conversation going about what we truly wanted to recommend as a teacher committee for how they allocate those funding dollars. That was really helpful, and I'm continuing to serve on the outcomes committee for that. Trying to think. The last thing I went to was Grow Your Own, like that announcement. That was really interesting. Gosh, Sarah, I don't know. Basically anytime TDOE has something really cool going on, they'll invite you and you get to come and like be the first person to hear about it, which is pretty cool.
What was your favorite thing that you've done in the last, let's say 2 years?
I don't know, because it's all very different. Like the professional development that you get through CCSO has been really crazy. Because it's so unlike any professional development you've ever had before. Goodness. I mean, I think just the opportunity to represent your state and talk about like what you know matters in education. like, what an incredible opportunity. We just don't get that as teachers. And it's not something I take lightly. And sometimes it's a challenge because sometimes you want to say some things that are not super popular with people. Or, you know, you have to really think carefully about how it's going to be construed by people who aren't necessarily in education right now. Like, I'm sure you guys can think of like 5 topics, like right now off the top of your head that you're like, I don't want to touch that with the 10-foot pole. But I think like learning how to say the hard things in a way that people are going to listen to, but also let you leave the room feeling like I said what I needed to say and advocate for my students and advocate for teachers in Tennessee. Because it's not easy. Like there's the people that make decisions aren't teachers, but if we don't learn how to use our voices in effective ways, then we're never going to be heard and we're never going to feel like we have any stake in the problems anymore.
What advice would you give to these prospective Tennessee Teacher of the Year applicants?
Well, I think the whole like getting comfortable bragging on yourself, I think that was the best advice I ever got. You know, I'm a very collaborative person, so it was hard for me because I wanted to write that I did everything with someone, and it's true, I did, but all of these things were, you know, those were my programs. Like they're the things that I brought to these people and said, hey, I think I'm going to do this. Do you want to do it with me? And so taking ownership of that was like an awkward thing for me. So just don't be afraid to lean in and like really be honest about like what you're doing and why you're doing it. This is your chance to tell your students stories, and don't shy away from that. Because that's why we're all here. That's why we're staying in this job. That's why, like, I mean, we all know how hard teaching is right now, but our students and their stories are the reason why we keep coming back every day, even though we're tired and we're exhausted. And, you know, we've all read another news story about teachers and teaching that we're like, really, you're going to do that now? So I think like, just really try to find some ways to showcase what you're passionate about. Like that will come through in your application, and that's what people are looking for. They're looking for people who are just pouring their heart and soul into teaching. And I don't mean that like they're not necessarily looking for the person who's like burning themselves out working all these hours a day. Like it's not that type of thing, but just the people that are really teaching because that's what's in their heart, if that makes any sense.
Thanks, Morgan. I'd like to open it up just a couple of minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. If any of you have questions for Morgan, I don't know that she was prepared for this, but she's here. So if you have any questions for Morgan, feel free to ask. You can put it in the chat, or if you want to come off mute, you're welcome to do that as well. All right, Morgan. Thank you so much for joining us, Morgan. So
you're welcome. Oh, congratulations again. And remember, if you make it like enjoy all these moments, like all this recognition, really soak it up, keep the newspaper clippings, keep all the plaques, all those things like that.
All right. With that, do you have any questions for me about the program that I can answer at this stage? All right. So I think we'll have more questions on the application as we go along. Again, we have the webinar as I've shifted to our additional resources. we will have the second part of the webinar series next Tuesday, 3:30 to 4:30, same time, same place. You will have a different link, however, so and I will send that out either the night before or the day of, just because I do have some people signing up, you know, as the days go on, like as the day of, so I don't want to send it out 400 times. So please just be aware, if you don't hear from me even 2 days ahead of time, just be patient. I promise you, I'll send you the link to the webinar. Some additional resources that you have, the Tennessee Teacher of the Year website does have some resources. They did let us update the timeline and a few resources. There is a guidebook on the website from last year. We have not been able to update that to this year's, but not a significant amount of things have changed. So if you want to look to that guidance document, you may do that as well. So we'll have the webinar next week. Once we move into the next stage, we will have another webinar on March 21st. And that is just approaching the part 2 Teacher of the Year application. Now, I will host weekly office hours most Mondays from 3 to 4 Central Time. I did really try to keep things after the traditional school hours, so you guys could jump in. That is not a mandatory thing, but if you do have questions, you can jump in, ask your question, and then leave. So you by no means are required to get there at 3 o'clock or stay on until 4. I will start those next week, and we will go until April 10th. The link is there. I also provided the link in the email that was sent to you through your initial email. I will not have office hours on Monday, February 27th through March 13th, and that is because you have submitted that part of the application. So just be prepared for that. If you pop in, we'll say hi, but you know, there's not a whole lot we can do at that point. But we will resume the office hours on Monday, March 20th. All right, so as we conclude, please put in the chat what is the next step you're going to take to prepare for the Tennessee Teacher of the Year process. Oh, I have a question. Office hours does mean a virtual meeting where you can pop in. Yes. You can pop into that virtual meeting at any point during that hour, and I will be there to answer any questions. Visiting the Tennessee Teacher of the Year website. A lot of districts do use our part 1 for their selection process. So going back through and editing, visiting the website and explore the guide, gathering evidence to support application, learning how to brag on myself, writing out my philosophy, unpacking the prompts. Only time will tell. Yep, I'm a person like that too. It takes me a minute to come up with my questions. If you have questions between now and next Monday, you are welcome to email me too. It's sarah.brown@tn.gov, Sarah with an H. So please feel free to email me. With that, guys, I know you are teachers and you are busy, and it's a snow day for some tomorrow. It is not for others. I'm very sorry for those that it is not, but I'm going to let you go. I hope that you have learned everything that you can from this webinar. I hope I've been able to help you a little bit. Please go forth and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for participating.